Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News. I'm John Patton, and this is episode 400 of TGC News. I'll talk about that more later. First up this week, Congressman Thomas Massie out of Kentucky just introduced a really interesting bill that could affect all of us. It's called the National Constitutional Carry Act, and it's comprised of two major provisions. First would be prohibiting states or other political subdivisions from imposing restrictions on individuals carrying firearms in public. That is already a huge deal. And the second provision is that it would invalidate existing laws and regulations that criminalize or penalize the carrying of firearms in public. Now, to me, something like this is far better than national reciprocity. I never really liked that, but this is the way forward, I think. And the best way to handle carrying guns across the country. I just think it is the best way to do this. The bill currently has 20 co-sponsors, which is positive, but only time will tell if it actually moves forward. I'd love to know what you guys think, and if you would like to see Thomas Massie maybe come on the TGC podcast as a guest. I recently had one of Trump's national security advisors, a gold medal skeet shooter, a school shooting survivor, and the Attorney General of Missouri. They all came on the show as guests, and I'd love to continue that trend of epic guests with people like Thomas Massie and other folks that you guys want to see. So leave suggestions in the comments below. In other news, Magpul is now shipping their T-Mag, aka translucent AR mags. They are what I would call sort of a dirty clear more than they are like truly clear, maybe like a dusty clear. I don't know. I do know that actual clear magazines are difficult to produce because the polymers are just not as strong as other options. And of course, Magpul wants them strong. So it's cool to see this actually coming to life, and hopefully it doesn't suck. MSRP is $24. In other accessory news, Timney has released their first ever lever action trigger. It's specifically for Marlin lever guns, and honestly, this is the first time that I've seen a company outside of custom brands offering such a thing. They say that this can be installed by the DIY enthusiast and can be had in black or nickel finish. It's a 3 to 3.5 pound pull weight, and I was actually given one of these to try out, I guess, but all I have in Marlin pattern is the old school 30-30, and I'm not super pumped about messing with my dad's old guns. Marlin, if you want to hook a brother up so I can try this trigger, what a really silly way to do that. Let me know. B5 Systems is back in the news this week with their new retro line. Last week it was the AK stuff, and now they're doing the old school Car 15 furniture. There's the LS2 grip with an MSRP of $20, the classic round handguard with an MSRP of $25, and the stock has an MSRP of $50. All can be had in black or OD green, and suddenly I want a retro build with all that OD green stuff. Like, black is just boring, OD green, that looks good. And speaking of getting set up for a build, here's a bit from this week's sponsor, Sylvan Arms. This episode of TGC News is brought to you by Sylvan Arms. New for 2024 is their SA5 folding stock adapter. Developed for serious use, the SA5 is made of steel, has adjustable hinge tension, and a tighter fit to your receiver, and of course all the features from their previous folders. Big thanks to Sylvan Arms for sponsoring this week's video. Next up this week, a few new guns. I mean, that's what are we doing here if it's not about guns? First is a bunch of new chamberings from Rossi. They've taken their R95 line and added 4 new straight wall cartridges, likely for all the folks that want to hunt with straight wall, or maybe that's the only way they can go hunt with a rifle. They've now added 44 mag, 357 mag, 444 Marlin, and 360 Buckhammer. By the way, does anybody out there, have any of you actually bought anything for the 360 Buckhammer? I feel like that caliber is already just dead on the vine, and it really hasn't been out that long. I think the one out of all 4 of these, for me, would be the 44 mag. I just think it would be a lot of fun. MSRP on these is $947 for the 44 and 357, and it bumps up to $1061 for the 444 and the Buckhammer. Ruger is in the news this week with a new version of their LC carbine. It is now chambered in 10mm auto. All of us neckbeards can now rejoice. They are shipping it with a Glock pattern mag that appears to be made by SGM, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the same one that CMMG uses on their 10mm Banshee. Otherwise, it's got the 16.25-inch barrel that is threaded for a can or a break. It weighs 7.4 pounds roughly and has a side-folding adjustable stock. MSRP is $1049. I think my question here is, how will that recoil impulse be with the straight blowback design? I'm betting it's going to slap you around a little bit. I'm betting it's just not going to be amazing, but I've been wrong before. And Beretta is in the news this week with a new version of their 80X Cheetah called the Tactical Urban. This is essentially a churched-up 80X. I've yet to shoot one of these guns, but I'm willing to bet it's pretty neat. It's still a 380, which means it's smaller overall. It's like a 92 that's been shrunk down, but it has the big boy tactical features like a threaded barrel and extended mag. This one comes optic ready as well, which is kind of the only way to fly. And with the right ammo, a small 380 could be a real contender for a home defense gun that the entire family could deploy. Imagine that, having a gun in the house that anybody could just pick up and be accurate with, especially with a can on there. MSRP on this is $750. And like I said at the opening of the show, this is episode 400 of TGC News, which is insane. Because of you guys out there watching, I've been lucky enough to dedicate over 9 years of my life to this show, this channel, etc. I want to give a special shout out to the editor, Izzy, for sticking with me since 2016. Thanks, Izzy. Couldn't do it without you, man. I also want to say thank you to the brands that have financially supported this show over the years, and you guys financially support them. And they're confident to keep doing it year after year because of you guys. It's a wonderful thing. If I could ask for one thing from you in celebration of this milestone, it would be for those that are yet to be subscribed to this channel, please just hit that button on whatever platform you're consuming this, wherever you're watching, just hit subscribe, follow, whatever. Because it does matter and it does help us grow. TGC does not make viral content. That's not what we do. I'm not dunking on stuff. I'm not doing skits. We don't make content like that that gets viewed year after year. I try to bring you the latest and greatest, and that doesn't always stick around in the view cycle. So that means those of you that want to help, you come back and you share the videos and you watch them and you leave comments and you support us. And I couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you for 400 episodes. I really, you guys are awesome. Thank you.